Greetings and welcome to the Prime Directive. I'm your host Jefficho, and my co-host here, Chris. Say hi, Chris.
Hello.
And fresh out of his holo addiction, here is Sean.
Hello again.
Alright, Chris, looks like we got some more Discovery news. Why don't you tell us about our new captain?
Yeah, so the slow, steady leak of Discovery casting information continues. The big release this time around would be we have actor Jason Isaacs coming in as Captain Lorca. And you will, of course, recognize this actor from his role in the Harry Potter series as Lucius Malfoy.
Yeah, if you look at his IMDb, he's a pretty busy man, but it's really sweet that we've got more of an established actor now as our captain. If you guys were a first officer to any captain, which one would it be and why? And keep in mind that you can't pick Archer just because you want to be T'Pol.
I think I would want to go with Cisco. There's just the most to do on Deep Space Nine. I think that would be the most interesting place to serve. You get the most variety of people. I think DS9 had some of the most interesting characters. And you have a bar that you can go to and have actual alcohol, unlike every other Star Trek show.
Alright, Sean, which captain would you like to be a first officer to?
Well, I gotta take the easy answer on this one and go with Picard, just because, again, he was always about diplomacy and he was not gonna send me into some crazy no-win scenario situation.
And he also wouldn't transfer you off the ship for your holo addiction, which is nice.
I know. Enough about that.
I myself would totally choose Captain Riker, being aboard the USS Titan. That is a sweet-looking ship.
I feel like that's cheating, Jeff.
It is cheating. It's total cheating.
And then, like, whenever I have some issues, I could talk to Deanna about them, and I would be
Oh,
like,
no, right
I would
there.
be like the most confident.
Right there, no. Because
confident
what's
first
gonna
officer.
happen? I don't care if she's got her whole like confidentiality thing. She's gonna be talking to her husband, and be like, you know, your first officer's fucked.
All right, Chris. So we also have another casting of Mary Wiseman. She's gonna be playing Cadet Tilly.
Yeah, we don't know much about her role yet, other than she's a cadet, and I feel like the casting of a cadet kills a lot of the theories that this ship is going to be a Section 31 ship or on some kind of secret undercover mission. I can't imagine a good reason to have someone who isn't even through the academy yet on board for that.
Those are my theories. She is a last year cadet, though. She's in her 4th year. It's also possible that maybe she has a special expertise in a certain field. Sean, what do you think?
I guess it's possible. Could be like a female Wesley.
Sir, I know this may finish me as an acting ensign, but...
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley?
Doctor.
And since I am finished here, sir, may I point out that...
Shut up, Wesley.
That everything that I have said...
But again, I would agree with Chris that I think it's unlikely they would have a cadet on the ship. It was like some kind of secret mission.
So an interesting thing I came across for Lieutenant Stamets' character is there's actually a Paul Stamets in the same field of mycology, and he's got several awards on the thing. He's our resident expert right now on it. And it's not lost on him. He's got a post on Facebook where he's like, oh, I've always wanted to go into space.
Sounds like a fun guy.
Moving on.
You get it?
Alright, Chris, this is late news. It came out in September of last year, but it's still pretty relevant. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so this is information coming from Kirsten Beyer, who is going to be one of the writers on Star Trek Discovery, and formerly a writer of some of the Star Trek novels.
Like those Voyager novels?
We don't have to hold that against her.
Okay. Anyway, the information we're getting out of her is that there are going to be some novel tie-ins for the show Discovery, which is going to be the first time we have actual canon Star Trek novels.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that because I've read so many Star Trek novels and none of them are canon, so it's just like none of it counted. But it's still a good time to read. Chris, you read a couple of those TNG novels for A Time to Kill and A Time to Be Born. What did you think of them? Do you think they'd make really cool miniseries movies they should do?
Yeah, I really liked a lot of the ideas in the books, and I think having it in a novel instead of in a film or a TV show lifts a lot of the limitations on the writer as to what they can do and imagine and have different kinds of aliens and ships and that sort of thing. I believe that series had different writers throughout, and I think I liked one writer more than the other quite a bit, actually.
Every 2 books was a different writer, yeah.
Yeah.
If Klingon food is too strong for you. Perhaps we could get one of the females to breastfeed you.
So there hasn't been a lot of information floating around about the 3 Klingons cast so far for Discovery, but Jeff, I believe, has dug up some interesting tidbits.
So Shazad Latif will be playing the Klingon commander Cole, and it could be the same Cole from the DS9 comics, who was a battle defense commander, or it could be another Cole that was a Federation spy who was aboard the USS Enterprise A. Chris Obi will be playing, as Sean delicately put last episode, Takuma! He'll be a Klingon leader of the houses, trying to unite them all, and Cole's mentor. The only reason I can think they'd want to unite the houses is to consolidate their strength. Maybe there's a big threat coming, or maybe they're in another Klingon civil war, who knows. Mary Shalif will be playing L'Rell, and she's a battle deck commander. Do you guys think that we're going to get a hardened Klingon warrior, or like the Duras sisters, we're going to get a Klingon slut?
The invitation was unexpected.
We should have extended it much sooner. Allow me to heat up your tea.
For fuck's sake, Jeff.
Like, she tried to sleep with everybody on TNG. Picard, Worf.
Perhaps he needs something to help restore his confidence.
I think he'll find our offer appealing.
I'll make sure he does.
So Sean, there's a lot of concern about CBS and what they might do with the Klingons, but you want them to stay true. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, just keep them as the strong warrior-like race that we've always known. I would be really curious to hear some history and some more depth into their culture at this particular part of the Star Trek timeline.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of information on them about the TOS era.
Yep. Like, what's a Klingon scientist do? What's a Klingon farmer look like? Is his crop rotation dishonorable? I want to know more.
Alright, Chris, let's move on to the good news. Star Trek Deep Space Nine getting another season, right? Right? That's what's happening?
Kind of. The Star Trek Deep Space Nine Kickstarter for their documentary What We Left Behind recently hit its fundraising goal. And they hit enough of their stretch goals that they're going to be updating some of the old footage into HD and redoing some of the CGI for those scenes as well. They're going to be writing but not filming a pilot episode of Season 8, as well as outlining the story arc for the hypothetical Season 8 as well.
See, it's pretty exciting to hear that they're going to have footage in HD. I really want Deep Space Nine to be in Blu-ray. Why won't they just do that for me, Chris?
We get a little bit of Deep Space Nine in the Season 6 TNG Blu-ray?
It's not enough!
No, it's not.
It's not enough.
Sean, you read about that, and you actually read all the words. What did they say about that?
Too expensive to boil all the words down to just 2. But
Okay.
yeah, it's just not enough demand, unfortunately, to get a Blu-ray of Deep Space Nine.
So really, we have to start demanding more Deep Space Nine, because we're not going to get a more qualified series out there. So Chris, with my free time, I've hooked up a lot of photos of Discovery, and some of them have reminded you of a certain symbol, haven't they?
Yes. From that wonderful, wonderful underside angle where the Discovery just looks like a big old triangle with a circle on top of it, it does bear a striking resemblance to Spock's amulet of Idik, which is the Vulcan symbol for infinite diversity and infinite combinations. And I just wonder if that's a coincidence or if that's a cute little nod to something we didn't actually see much in the series.
Maybe it's a coincidence like the warp bubble in Star Trek Beyond.
It wasn't a coincidence, it was beautiful.
No, it's a complete accident.
You're an accident.
Would you mind telling me who that is?
That, Miss Lincoln, is simply my cat.
Your cat.
So guys, there's been a lot of talk about new alien creatures and all this stuff, and we've seen it in other episodes, and it's something just I'm really concerned about, that we're not going to get a cat-like species.
Is that a new fetish for you?
I wouldn't say new.
Well, we did get a cat girl in the animated series.
Yeah, she was pretty hot.
You're funny. and very attractive for a human.
No.
Yeah.
You lost me there.
A little too furry.
Yeah. Needs to be more woman as opposed to cat.
Well, that's all we have for you today. I'd like to thank Sean for coming out today.
My pleasure.
And Chris, why don't you lead us out?
Yeah, that's it for our video today. If you enjoyed it, please follow us a comment on the subscription Facebook. So there hasn't been a lot of... Okay, I'm trying to give you guys a signal.
I don't need one.
Alright. So there hasn't been a lot of information flowing around.
Where was my signal?
Jesus fucking Christ, I even said Klingon that time.